Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and we're producing this episode for GoodCrowd.info. Our guest today is Liz Deering, the co-founder and COO of One-to-One Giving. Liz, welcome to the show.
Hi, Devin. Thanks for having me.
Liz, you've got a really remarkable program, but before we talk about what's going on at One-to-One Giving, tell us about the problem you see. Let's understand what motivated you to create this.
Sure. Well, when we looked at the charity space, there's so many inefficiencies. It's so hard for nonprofits to get the actual physical products that they need. So that's one of the bigger challenges that we've seen. And when it comes to really trying to solve those problems, we thought the best thing we could do would be to build a marketplace where they can access those deals at discounts when they need them. So it's on demand. They can always find what they need. The other challenge we see a lot, which I'm sure folks can resonate with, is that it's so hard to connect with donors online. It's so hard for nonprofits to find a way to really connect, especially with that younger millennial generation, and really make them feel connected to the mission of what they're doing. So we decided to combine both a crowdfunding platform to allow donors to donate directly to specific products that they want to help a charity get, and this procurement so that the charity can actually get those products when they need them.
So tell us about how this works. I mean, this is really a remarkable thing. Let's start by focusing for a minute on the procurement side. What have you done to land these discounts? How does it work?
How it works is, if you think about this, whether you're a manufacturer or a supplier or a retailer, everybody gets hit up for donations, right, from a charity. So especially at a local level. So folks will come in and say, hey, we really need donations for, disaster relief or whatnot. So these brands are already looking for a way to help nonprofits. So when we speak with them, we offer them an opportunity to just sell their products at, as low of a discount as they're willing to give to charities. They're really excited about this opportunity because they want to do that already, and they want to be able to talk about it. They want to be able to show consumers that they're doing something tangible.
So how do the nonprofits participate in that? How do they connect into the work that you're doing?
So they just come to our website, to one-to-one-giving.com, and they can sign up for free. We actually only allow 501c3 organizations to use our platform. And once they log in, they'll just shop like anyone would shop a marketplace online and pick the products they need. They can build wish lists. So let's say that you're planning for, to rehouse a bunch of folks. You're a homeless shelter. So maybe you're just going to come in and build a wish list. We need beds, we need, linens, we need furniture, we need all these things. They could just buy those items when they're ready, and we will have those shipped out so the products go straight from the warehouse with the brand to the warehouse the charity has. And so we just are in the middle to really make it more efficient. So they don't have to go, looking around. I think so many hours are wasted doing that, volunteer hours, staff hours, trying to source deals.
What kinds of products have you been able to get on the website with these special deals?
It's a really big range. So we've got everything from furniture to mattresses. We even have refurbished mattresses, which is a really neat thing. Books, kids' books, backpacks. So busy back here today. We've got clothing, hats. We've got even hygiene products, and we're bringing on a bunch of food products now as well. So things that can be used for after school programs or for homeless shelters. So it's a big range. Medical equipment. We're really based on what the nonprofits have told us they need most.
Yeah, sounds great. Now, let's talk a little bit about the crowdfunding side. I think the real innovation of your site is on the procurement side and the discounts you're offering, but you've matched that with a fairly traditional looking, working crowdfunding application as well, right?
That's right, yeah. So, when you think about the procurement side, as you're saying, sorry about this noise. I don't know if it's hard to hear.
They're just so excited that you're doing this.
It's like a rally out there, No, I don't know what's going on. So I'm just going to give them.
There we go.
Never a dull moment in Austin, Texas, There we go. So so when we look at the procurement side of things, we're looking at just basically becoming an extension of the nonprofit's team. So instead of having to go hunt and peck for deals and go source those, they can come to one-to-one giving. They can buy what they need, or they can contact us, and we really partner and say, what do you need? What can we find for you at a better deal? And we're offering, near wholesale pricing wherever we can. Now, let's say that you don't have the funds to do that, right? You need to raise money, and that's where the crowdfunding piece comes in. So we're all familiar with the model of raising funds for a specific cause or a specific project. One-to-one is different because you're actually making your wish list real. So it's almost like a gift registry in the sense that a nonprofit comes in and picks things they need. Let's say I need 10 mattresses, 10 sets of linens, 5 huge pallets of diapers, and they build that wish list, and that becomes the crowdfunding campaign. So when a donor donates, they know their money is going to buy those products and not to anything else. So that's what makes it different than a typical, just a fundraising platform.
Yeah, and with the added means that your folks understand that you are, the donation goes to buy products at a discount. So they feel like their money's being leveraged a little bit extra, right?
That's right. Yeah, I think there's the money is definitely going further, and I think that matters to donors, because the more access everyone has to information online, the more they want to know exactly where that money is going. They don't want to think that it's being spent at full retail, definitely.
So Liz, let's just talk a little bit, you and me here, just a little, let's get personal if we can.
Okay, that's good.
So tell me a little bit about you. I'm wanting to understand, you've become a real role model to many people in your community, especially in the nonprofit community, among those who are receiving the benefits of one-to-one giving. But who do you look up to as a role model?
That's a great question. One of my current role models who I really get a lot of inspiration from is Brene Brown. She, as you may have heard her TED Talk she gave a couple years back, she talked a lot about vulnerability. And one of the things I love about her is that she's been very courageous. She's not presented herself as sort of a perfect person, right? I think a lot of times people that have a public image of any kind can present themselves as totally put together and perfect. But I think she's been willing to say multiple times, this is what I've been afraid of. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I'm going for. So that's something that's really inspired me on my journey because, as soon as you start to build something and work on something you're really passionate about, fear kicks in, right? And you say to yourself, what did I get myself into? So I really admire her. And I think, the way that she's presented herself, the courage that she puts forward when she just is vulnerable really inspires me to be more courageous myself.
Oh, that is a great story. Now, you are a very talented individual and clearly have a lot of entrepreneurial horsepower. You could be doing anything. Why have you chosen a path that would make such a difference directly in the world for nonprofits and the people that they serve?
I think it's been a lifelong journey to get to this point, to be honest with you. I think that folks talk about this moment you have when you can't say no to something that then is presented to you. And, the moment when my co-founder told me about this concept, which was about 3 years ago now, I just knew in my gut, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is just what I'm supposed to do. And I think what it comes from is a background in being really involved in supporting nonprofits and working locally. I grew up in Michigan, and I spent a lot of time doing volunteer work in Detroit, working with kids, working in shelters. And I always had a lot of empathy for just the causes around me and the need around me. And so for me, what's most inspiring about one-to-one giving is creating empathy in communities and allowing other people to feel what the need is and be able to do something about it. Because so often we just kind of go through our day and we don't see the need, or we don't feel like we can deal with it. And so for me, it's very exciting to get up every day and try to make that happen,
That is inspiring. That is inspiring. Now, Liz, as I look at you as a successful social entrepreneur, and everyone who's watching, whether they're running nonprofits or volunteering, or whether they are impact investors, philanthropists, whatever they are, they want to have more impact, do more good in the world. What's something that you do every day or regularly that you could give us as an impact hack, something that we can emulate, copy, and that would increase our ability to have impact in the world?
You know, I think one of the things that has been the most helpful for me is to actually follow my gut. And what I mean by that is when that little voice in the back of your head says, you should talk to that person, or you should leave that tip, or you should say something to this one particular person. And, some people call this paying it forward or whatnot. But what I mean is also listening to the instinct that you have and following it, and not being afraid to follow it. I'll tell you one short story about this and how it's kind of helped our mission. So years ago, before we met our first investors, before we got off the ground, I met a guy who was running a program. He's running a conference, and he spoke, and I was just one of probably 150 people in the audience. Something clicked in my brain that said, you need to talk to that guy about one-to-one giving. And this one-to-one giving was like a glimmer in the eye. It was not a thing. And so I thought all these reasons why I shouldn't, right? He seems busy. He's really like a big guy. Who knows? He's not got time for me, blah, blah, blah. And then I said to myself, well, if I could get his contact information, I'm going to do it. And then I made up excuses for why that probably wouldn't happen. Well, then he handed out a book at the end of the event, and it had his email address in the front of the book, which was kind of like a nudge to me. So I emailed him and I said, hey, listen, I'd love to tell you about the business I'm trying to build. And had lunch with him and his wife, my co-founder and I did. And 3 weeks later, they said they wanted to invest in our business. And I had no idea he was even an investor. I just had that gut sense. This guy is passionate, he gets it. I'm just going to talk to him and see where it goes. And if I had followed that, we wouldn't be here. So now it's been a lesson to me to always do that, to always be courageous enough to say, I'm just going to start that conversation, or I'm just going to follow my gut instinct.
Do you dare tell us who it was?
No, I'd rather not. Let's be private guy.
Okay. Well, wonderful. Liz, we sure appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. Before we go, tell people how they can get in touch with you, learn more about one-to-one giving.
Sure. Well, you can email me at liz.deering@one-to-one-giving.com. You can also just find me on Twitter, just Liz Deering, LIZDEERING.
Fantastic. Liz, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. We wish you every success.
Thank you. It's been great.
All righty. Let's do some good.